Hi guys, welcome to my new YouTube channel. My name is Mattia and I'd like to share with you my passion for chessney 60, which is my favorite variant. And in my first video, I want to analyze an exciting game between Carlsen and Caruana, who are the best players at the moment in the world. And this is a game that was played in the Fischer Random World Championship in 2019, round 8. Carlsen played with white pieces and Caruana with black pieces. Carlsen started with d4, f5, b3, opening a diagonal to the bishop, knight g6, developing a piece, knight d3, b6, and here Carlsen long castled. Knight d6, f3, maybe preparing, for example, e4 or g4, and this move also opens a diagonal to the queen. Caruana played long castle, knight g3, and here f4, attacking the knight. Carlsen played knight h5. Here the first mistake of the match by Caruana, who played queen d5, but the best move here was queen f7, defending the f-pawn, because after this move, for example, g3, attacking that pawn, f takes and h takes, and in this position Carlsen has a slight advantage. But instead of this move, Caruana played queen d5, and this move allowed Carlsen to play knight h takes f4, attacking the queen. So knight takes, queen a5, attacking the a pawn, which is hanging, e4. So Carlsen in this position has a complete control of the center and an extra pawn. But maybe Caruana is able to lead a strong attack. e5 here. For example, queen takes a2 could be an idea in this position. And the best moves here are bishop c3, because is attacked. The knight on d6 has few squares to develop. So knight b7, maybe to bring this knight to the attack with other passages. King d2, and here knight a5. Here it's important to play knight d3 because, for example, if rook a1 is terrible because there's a fork here with knight takes b3 check. So here it's important to play this move, king d3, bishop c6, developing a piece, and this piece could also attack the white king. Rook a1, attacking the queen, bishop b5 check, king e3, and queen takes c2, rook e c1, and queen takes b3, rook a b1, queen a3 forced, and bishop takes b5, knight b3. This is interesting because probably the best here is king d3, but the rook can be taken by the knight here. For example, if rook c2, here there is e5, and after king f2, bishop c5. This is interesting because taking is not good here. For example, d takes c5, there is queen takes check, king f1, and queen takes b5 check. Knight e2, defending the king, knight d2 check, bishop takes, queen takes with check, rook c1, queen b3. After that, for example, bishop g5, attacking the rook, and that rook is trapped, d5 takes, e takes d5, and rook takes d5. In this position, with a correct game, this position leads to a draw. With these moves, white hasn't the initial advantage. So taking here is not good. The best here is bishop a6 check. After queen takes, d takes, there's no problem here. Knight takes, knight d5. And after queen d3, there are 7 pawns for black, 4 pawns and a bishop for white, but white can lead a strong attack here, because the pieces are active, really active. So here Caruana played e5, attacking the center, the strong center of white. After that, d takes e5 and knight f7, attacking that e5 pawn. For example, here, if queen takes a2, there is bishop c3, knight b7, so similar to the previous moves. Queen d4 developing. Here, knight a5, queen a4. Here is forced. Queen takes, b takes, knight c6, bishop a6 check, bishop b7, takes, knight d3, trying to defend that pawn, g5, and this is a good move to avoid f4 and to develop the bishop on the big diagonal. Rook h1, for example, bishop g7, attacking that pawn, bishop d2, attacking the g pawn, and here bishop takes, and rook b8. So in this position, white has an extra pawn and a powerful pawn chain on the king side. So there's a decent advantage in this position for white. So after d takes e5 here, there is knight f7, king b1, defending the a pawn, bishop b4, developing the bishop and attacking the rook, and rook e2. Unfortunately for Carlsen, that rook was blocking the bishop on the f-file. Knight takes e5, and here an inaccuracy of Carlsen, who played queen e3, but the best move in this position is knight d5, attacking the bishop. After bishop c5, for example, queen h1 is the best here. After that, there's knight c6, and here black wants to attack heavily the false king. Bishop takes g7, because it's not a problem here, because after knight b4, c4, and the rook is defending the a pawn. Bishop takes d5, and here it's important to play c takes, because if e takes, it's terrible, because the rook on the e file is a gift for black, because in this position white has to defend the mate or a big attack. So after c takes, queen a3, 2 extra pawns and a pair of bishops for white. So a good advantage for white here. For example, if bishop d4, actually this is not the best line for white, but for example bishop d4, bishop takes d5, e takes d5, and knight g6. And here the best probably is g3, and the knight has few squares to develop. After that, rook takes e2, bishop takes, rook e8, and for example bishop c4. Here white has an extra pawn and the pair of bishops, so a decent advantage for white here. Another possibility is bishop takes e5 here. After queen takes, queen d4, threatening the g pawn, queen takes, rook takes, bishop takes. And here there's an extra pawn and a bishop versus knight in an open position. So also here a good advantage for white. So this was an inaccuracy from Carlsen. Bishop c5 attacking the queen. Here queen d2, but there is bishop b4 attacking the queen. Queen c1. Another possible move in this position is c3. After that, bishop d6, knight d5, bishop takes, e takes, knight g6, and g3, for example. This is a good position for white. Here Carlsen played queen c1, bishop a3, attacking that queen, bishop b2, takes, takes, and queen c5. Because maybe on the a file was a bit passive in this position, that queen. Rook e d2, a5. For example, an interesting move in this position is g5 attacking the knight, knight d5, queen f8, maybe defending a possible knight to f6 here, h3, king b8, a4, so gaining space with pawns is a classic strategy. h5, a5, attacking the castle of the black king. g4 here. After a takes b6, c takes b6, f takes g4, h takes g4, and here h4. So this position, white has a good advantage because there's an extra pawn, a nice outpost for the white knight, very dangerous, and also a passed pawn on the h file. Very good position here. So after rook e d2, a5 was played by Caruana, and here knight d5, developing the knight, bishop c6, developing the bishop, a3, king b7, and here an inaccuracy from Carlsen, who played b4. Maybe the best move in this position is f4, attacking the knight. After f4 there is knight g4, attacking the h pawn, but here queen takes g7, rook g8, and here queen takes h7, queen takes a3, queen e7, and here is forced queen takes, knight takes, rook g7, attacking, knight takes c6, king takes, and here there's a huge advantage for white because there are two extra pawns, bishop versus knight in an open game, dangerous pawns on the king side because there are three passed pawns and on adjacent files, so really hard to obtain a draw for black here. But after b4 by Carlsen, Caruana played a takes, queen f8, retiring the queen, knight e3, opening the file to the battery, g6, knight c4, and developing again the knight, rook a8, b5, attacking the bishop. So bishop d7, and here the right move is the one played by Carlsen, which is knight takes d6 check, c takes d6, rook takes. A possible move is bishop c8, for example, defending that bishop. And after that there is queen d4, rook a7 to give space to the black king, queen takes b6 check. It seems dangerous, but there is king a8, queen c5, knight f7, attacking the rook, b6, attacking the rook, and knight takes d6, rook takes d6, rook e6, e5, defending, rook takes, e takes. In this position there is one rook against four pawns from a materialistic point of view, but is easy for white to capitalize the positional advantage here. Has a really good advantage. These two pawns are really dangerous. So here Caruana didn't play bishop c8, but Caruana played rook a7, giving space to the king. Rook takes, knight takes, rook takes, king b8, rook takes, king takes, and here bishop c4, developing the bishop. Queen c5, developing and attacking, and here a mistake from Carlsen. The best move probably in this position is queen takes g7, check. After that, king b8, bishop d5, and this is threatening a mate. Rook e7, defending and attacking. Queen f8 check, king c7, queen f4 check, king c8, c4, queen g1 check, king c2, rook d7, and here in this position white has a huge advantage. For example, bishop e6 is terrible, is a blunder, because here the white king is not able to run away from the black queen, and this is a draw. Here the best move is queen d2, so here is important to come back with the queen, defending the king, and after that king b8. So this is a winning position for white, but unfortunately Carlsen played bishop d5 here, and this is a mistake. After that, rook e7, defending the g-pawn, and here seems to be risky for black, this move. Queen a2 check, but after king b8, queen check, king c7, and here queen check, forcing an exchange of queens. Queen takes, b takes, rook e5, and here a mistake by Carlsen. Here the best move is h4. h4, then for example, rook h5 is not good because it's easy to defend here with this move. The best move here is probably rook e8, because an idea is bringing the rook on the a file and annoying the white king, for example. After that, king b2, rook a8, h5, and king d6. There is a good advantage here for white. But Carlsen played f4, attacking the rook, rook h5, h3, defending, rook h4, f5, forced, rook f4, and this rook is pretty dangerous here for the pawns. g4, h6, c4, rook f3, e5, and here the blunder, a big blunder from Caruana, because here Caruana played rook takes h3, and the problem of this move is that the rook is not controlling the f file. Here the best move was a rook f4, controlling the f pawn of white. After that, for example, king b2, h5, attacking, e6, king d6, and the black king is well positioned here. King b3, developing, h takes g4, h takes g4, rook takes, king a4, rook g3, king b5, rook e3, and king takes. In this position, white has a slight advantage, but maybe would have been a draw this position. Unfortunately, Caruana played this terrible move. I don't know if Caruana had a few minutes in this position, so trouble of Zeitnot. So rook takes, and here this move allows Carlsen to play f6, g takes, e takes, and that pawn is really dangerous right now. Rook e3 is an inaccuracy. The best here is rook a3. Maybe it's better to defend the last rank with the rook in this file, because after rook e3 the problem is f7, and the rook is not able to return to the last rank here. Rook e1 check, king c2, rook f1, and this move is defending the promotion. King d3, king d6, king e4, and here another inaccuracy, rook f6. And this is not the best move because here has less freedom in this square, the rook. The best here was simply rook f2, and for example after that king d4. After rook f6, beautiful move by Carlsen here, who played c7, and this forces the black king to take the pawn, and now the white king is able to advance. Rook f1, king e6, rook d8, but it's late here. After bishop e4, Caruana resigned, because after that the best here is rook f2. But after bishop f5, rook e2 check, and king f6, and this position is completely lost for black because that pawn is unstoppable. Only move here is this sacrifice, and this is lost. So thank you a lot guys for watching my video. Hope you enjoy, and please, if you like it, leave a comment, leave a like, and subscribe to my new YouTube channel. Bye bye.